You see the Japanese stock market crash? I mean, I've seen the stock market crash. If I was a low IQ individual or naive or perhaps a little bit younger, I would ask, why is this happening? But I know why anything in the stock market happens, which is for no reason. The stock market makes no sense. No one can predict it. It's just random bullshit. Every once in a while, somebody gets famous because they like they predicted some stuff. But if you have enough people attempting to predict something that's random, you will eventually have something that looks like a functioning model. That doesn't mean that it is. It just means that you've been lucky. I don't believe in any of this crap. It crashed because it crashes. That's how it works. Horoscopes for the wealthy. Japanese stocks on Monday suffer the biggest daily loss since '87 as fears about a U.S. economic slowdown. I love being the world superpower, man. I love how when our economy goes bad, other places' economies go worse because they're worried about us, you know? That's crazy. How do we get rid of the stock market? There's this thing they're calling communism, if you can believe it, folks. What is going on? Global stock markets plunge. Well, ain't that something? The Dow opened more than 1,000 points lower, the S&P 500 down 4.25%, NASDAQ plunged by more than 6%, Japanese stocks suffered the biggest loss since 1987, the Nikkei 225 index in Tokyo closed more than 12% lower, my goodness. The fear index is up, folks. Did you know they have something called a fear index? That's right. That's not real, Benjamin. Oh, yeah, here we go. The fear gauge. I think it's the fear index, the fear gauge, you know, the torment nexus. The CBOE Volatility Index jumped up to a high of 65.73, up about 42 points from its close on Friday. This is a measurement of stockholder anxiety, basically. We love our shareholder anxiety. Check my latest post, I explained it. Explanations are for the weak, Comrade Robinhood. You have to embrace the chaos of the stock market, okay? Things happen because they happen. See, this is a bad number. You don't want this number to go up. It's real. I know that this happened, Benjamin. I don't think this is what caused the crash. I don't think the Bank of Japan marginally raising its key interest rate led to an economic crash in the American market. Again, the more I hear about the stock market, the less I understand it. Okay, again, you might think that I'm joking here, okay? It's random bullshit. I'm not kidding, okay? You might, or at the very least, I can say the effects that lead to the outcomes that we see are so far-reaching and impossible to speculate on. You might as well be predicting like where a wave is going to be at any given second a week from now. Like, will this exact like coordinate, like spatially have like a wave up or a wave down 3 days from now at 7:52:23.6, you know? Good luck. Have fun with it. Vosh, you're just admitting to not being connected, Lamau. And there will be people who think that they understand the system, and they'll say, no, you idiot, you can analyze currents and wind to see if there will be a wave at that point. We have the science for it, ignoring the fact that these crashes constantly happen unexpectedly every time everyone's like, whoa, you know? Like, you never hear people talk about, like, yeah, tomorrow this is going to happen. I don't believe it. If this was predictable, if this was scientific, then it would be measurable. You'd have repeatable consequences in a lab. I don't believe in it, folks. The stock market is based on hype. What is hype, if not feelings? In this instance, it really is feels over reals. It's all vibes. The yen has been very weak. It is a great time, by the way, to plan a vacation to Tokyo. I'm taking notes here. Yen is very weak. You go over there with $1, you own the economy now. You're getting as much conveyor belt sushi as you can eat. The stock market just seems gambling to me. It is gambling, but because gambling is a no-no word in Christianity, we call it speculative investment, which is the same as gambling, only over a longer term, and the social consequences of speculative investment are orders of magnitude greater than gambling, you know? Let's see them try to explain this one. Check my last comment, it's simple stuff. Comrade Robinhood, I think you think that I'm joking, and the problem with you thinking that is that I'm not. It's pretty simple. The Japanese central bank had the interest rate at 0% for years, and now U.S. companies were borrowing yen and exchanging it for trillions of USD because it was free money, and now the interest rate's back up. There's a crash. It's not complicated. Yeah, I don't believe it. Nah, I don't believe it. How does that lead to a global crash? Is Tokyo worth a vacation? Oh, yeah, for sure. US companies alone had $20 trillion worth of debt in yen. Okay. You're not getting me on this, man. America and American companies hold plenty of debt. I'm telling you, it's all I'm not arguing about it with you. What you're basically saying to me, I'm saying like no one could have predicted that the wave would be at this point in time. And you're saying, well, it's a windy day. You're saying like the wind was blowing really hard. Now, to me, that could mean a million things. So the wind blows really hard. Maybe that just means the wave is like 3 feet over to the left. And the wave isn't where it is right now. You know, the wind blowing hard doesn't necessarily mean that any specific outcome is going to happen. We're not talking about repeatable science here. And now because the yen is going up in value, that caused a massive panic. Maybe I'm not making myself clear. It's fine. It's fine. Really, it's fine. You know what? I think the more you engage with the stuff, it's like the Necronomicon. You're not supposed to. You take a crack at it, CNN. Benjamin, you really don't get the pointer, do you? Mortgage rates, Fed cut, all major indices on track for worst day since 2022. Yup. US dollar slides to 8-month low. Stupid. Loser. Nvidia leads steep losses in Magnificent 7 shares. Good. I don't like Nvidia. Dow falls again, returning to a 1,000-point loss. That's cool. Investors caution against pulling out of stocks. No shit. They always do that. What investor would tell you that it's time to burn your shares and devalue the stock you both hold? Issues with online trading platforms mostly resolved. Oil prices continue to fall mid-Monday. Stock sell-off reaccelerates Monday. Stocks aren't sinking. Stocks are still sinking, but don't panic. That's nice. Guys, don't panic. Don't panic. Don't panic. There are 3 reasons the market is melting down today. Jobs, the Fed, and AI. Oh, well, hold on. According to CNN, it's not... where's the Japan thing? I thought it was jobs, the Fed, and AI. Fed, rate cuts, tech. Okay, we may have gotten a little... Benjamin, I'm not reading your last comment. Vosh really self-reporting right now how ignorant he is to the mechanics of the stock market. I genuinely think that, like, trying to put sense to this is socially detrimental in the same way that trying to put sense to horoscopes is. You can find patterns there too if you really want to dig for them. In reality, the stock market, the value of these shares, all this econ bullshit that you engage with, none of it's real. It's all fake. It's smoke. None of it has to do with real widgets, real things. Does it have to do with food and mouths? People working jobs? Does it have to do with houses getting built? No, it's not material. All of it is based on the vibes and speculation. That's why they call it speculative investment, on people who stand to make or lose a lot of money based on how much other people hype up the thing they already have invested in. That's why Tesla is evaluated higher than every other car company, even though they produce less cars than basically any other car company. They do less for society than anyone else, but they're worth more. And the reason they're worth more is because other people say they are. That's it. There's no such thing as an objective valuation of a share's worth or of a company's worth. It's all bullshit. They lie to you. They try to make it make sense to you because they don't want you to know the stock market is just crypto. Crypto is just unregulated stock market. That's it. It's exactly the same thing. Entirely hype driven. There's no underlying worth to it. How can the shares for a company plummet to nothing when the company still owns the same land, the same buildings, still pays the same employee wages? Because there's no relationship between the value of a share and what they actually own. It's all bullshit. It's just confidence. It's crypto. The reason you dislike crypto, the reason you think it's irresponsible and socially deleterious, all of these things are the case with the stock market as well. The stock market is better regulated, admittedly. There are more eyes on how it functions. There's a little more control, admittedly, but only a little bit. You know, let's not get crazy with it here. Why does a crypto crash happen? Because people lost confidence. Why they lose confidence? Vibes. Vibes. Yeah, let's take a look at Nvidia's stock. Right here. Here they are trading at 45 at the midpoint of 2023. And then here they are with like triple that, you know, just about a year later. Have they owned triple the things? Have they produced triple the things? If you took the combined sell value of the items owned by and produced by, is it like, are we talking about the perceived value of copyrights, trademarks, patents? No, it's hype. It's always hype. It's speculative bullshit. They literally had like 10 times revenue. I'm sorry. When has revenue had anything to do with the share price of a company? Are you telling me then that revenue and share price are correlative? You want to take a look at the like revenue of like Tesla sales versus the revenue of a bunch of other car company sales and then say, like size that up? It's just hype fuel. It's very loosely correlated because it's all hype. Sheesh. Damn, I didn't realize that back in 2019, the mega corporation NVIDIA had a combined value of assets that were 1/30th what they had back on June 14th, 2024. And I can't believe that from June 14th, 2024 to now, the combined value of the stuff that they've owned, the material value of the physical objects that make up the ownership of the company, has depreciated by this amount. That's did they sell off a bunch of buildings or something? You all think that you're smarter than me because you get an element of this, but I'm on another level than you. You don't understand how stupid the shit you're investing energy into understanding is. You in your mind, you're thinking, oh, Vash doesn't even get it. There's a correlation between this because of the shareholder value and that's my point, man. All of these, what a company is or isn't doing, it's just a determiner of how much hype there is behind the product, behind the share, which is also how Bitcoin works, by the way. Can you imagine talking to a crypto bro and you're like, dude, crypto's value is completely detached from reality. Crypto doesn't mean anything. And they're like, that's not true. When Aiden Ross pumped up crypto in his live stream to 43,000 viewers, the value of it went up 4.2%. You're telling me that's not like, yeah, there's a cause for it. It makes sense. That's you. I work for a brokerage, and the more I tried to learn about the specifics, the more I ended up agreeing with what Vosh is saying. Yep. Anyone who tries to sell you on the idea that this is like a science you can get down is a grifter. They're delusional, or they're trying to make money off of you. Here's something that puts into perspective. Breaking, the S&P 500 erases 2.1 trillion of market cap. I can't believe that spontaneously during today, $2.1 trillion worth of stuff vanished into the ether. That's insane. That's like the GDP of a bunch of countries combined. You know, I can't believe it all vanished, and then sometime in the indeterminate future, it'll come back somehow. This is all definitely determined by real world shit, man. The tweet right under. In other words, the S&P 500 has erased 2 times the value of NVIDIA's market cap in 14 days. Yeah. It's like when people say shit like Elon Musk just lost $40 billion in one day, and what they mean is the shares he owns have been arbitrarily evaluated at a lower value than they were before. He hasn't actually lost anything. People interpret that as like 40 billion got burnt, you know what I mean? Like burned into nothing, you know? That's not really how it is. I really think you need to read something about this. Like, you're right in the micro of individual companies and stuff, but not in the macro. Look up something called PE ratio. I don't believe in that. Sorry. You talk to me about finance, you're like, here's a term for you. I don't believe in terms. So Vosh, what you're saying is buy the dip? Yep, buy the dip. Price to earnings. What is we just went over this, man. Again, you think you're operating at a higher level. Your theory is subsumed by my theory, okay? You're in the cave right now, and you're trying to explain to me, like, the way the gods make the shadow men on the walls move. You can't even fathom the puppet masters behind the cave, like right outside the mouth of the cave. You can't even understand. I'm like, none of this matters. These are fake shadows. And you're like, no, they're not. We prayed yesterday to the god of shadows, and he gave us an entertaining performance today. Will you not pray today? I don't believe in this. PE ratio is the price of the stock versus the profit the company makes. It's that simple. What does that have to do with the price of the stock? Is in aggregate about 10 to 15 times what the company makes. This holds for literally hundreds of years of data. I don't think that's true. Most tech companies have negative PE ratios while growing. It's bullshit. Yeah, I just flatly on an intuitive level, I reject that. That might be like a stabilizing point because people feel like that's roughly right. But holy shit, a ton of companies are like Uber and shit are losing money while people invest like crazy. That happens all the time. None of it's real. The company I work for has had a negative PE ratio for a decade, and the stock has gone from 30 to 220. Oh, it sounds like the market gods are favoring you. Amazon was a loss leader for decades. Yeah. Never seen the yellow names chat this much. Like, for real, look at this. You're right about it. Please stop trying to educate me on this. I promise you that my feelings are this are not motivated by a complete unawareness of the subject, okay? I genuinely think that you guys have just bought into one level up from crypto, where you're like, it's not all random. Things can happen that have an outcome. And like, I know that about crypto, but it's still hype driven. When I say something is arbitrary, hype-driven bullshit, I don't mean that it's literally like detached from causality. I just mean that there aren't really material markers that you can rely on to indicate performance or to like stabilize the market. Shit just kind of happens, you know? All companies have a P/E ratio between a number and another number. Yeah. Yeah, the stock market is legitimized by the state, which crypto would like to be. That is true. That is true. Your problem is that you're going too far in the other direction. There's a shit ton of market irrationality, but that doesn't mean it's literally crypto. No, I said it's one level up from crypto. It's crypto if crypto was backed by the government and it's split across 1 billion different coins, and there were rules and regulations. Yeah, then it's crypto. Or in another point, crypto is just the stock market without the regulation. You know, it's just companies do stuff, crypto doesn't do stuff. Yeah, but what a company does or doesn't do doesn't have anything to do with whether or not their share prices are going up or down. You know that, like, you can find plenty of companies. I'm sorry, did, like, GameStop suddenly start doing a lot more when people invested in it as a meme stock? How much is Truth Social doing for the proletariat right now with its massive valuation from right-wingers who are speculatively investing in it as a meme stock? What about Radio Shack? Radio Shack plummeted, but as I understand it, even as the share plummeted and the company went bankrupt, Radio Shack still had stores open that you could go into. Why is it that so much stock market volatility happens only after the company reports its earnings or losses? Doesn't that indicate that it's entirely hype-driven? If it was actually determined by the productivity of the company, wouldn't there then not need to be quarterly releases that are mandated by the government to explain how well the company is or isn't doing? Because if it was directly caused by the productivity of the company, those releases, which are public hype-driven, wouldn't be necessary information. You could just naturally derive the right share price from how the company is doing, like, in reality. If it's based on the information the company provides, that's hype. No, what, lol, that's what an earnings report is? Yeah, I'm describing an earnings report. That's what I'm doing. How do we even get on this point? Earnings reports are a disclosure of success. I don't think it's accurate to call that hype. Why would you need the disclosure if it is the success itself that the share price is determined from? Or in other words, could a company constantly lie about their success and then enjoy a much higher share price? And if so, is that not actually just the share price is determined by hype and not by the actual productivity of the company? Yes, so it's hype driven. That is illegal, lol. Yeah, it's almost like crypto, but with regulations. Huh? Ooh! It's almost like the performance of the company isn't the thing that's driving the investment, but rather public confidence in the company. And the confidence can be manufactured either by lying, which is illegal, you know, at least for now, or through other market indicators that you can use to hype yourself up in ways that have nothing to do with your productivity. Hey guys, why has NVIDIA stock gone up 40 times in the past few years? Is it because they have produced 40 times the amount of good? My understanding was that NVIDIA was like a prime chip supplier for a long time. I mean, I thought NVIDIA was doing a lot. Oh, so how much has AI done for us exactly? Yeah, no, see, I don't believe this. It's all hype. It's, well, K Comrade Robinhood, my argument is that all stocks are meme stocks, just with varying levels of interest. Like everything, when we say meme stock, we just mean a stock where people are memeing harder than normal. Vosh, what are you talking about? Demand for stock also comes from people who want to buy the company for control. Are you 5? How often is that the case? How many people, how much of stock market sales are determined by people trying to control the company or get on the board of directors? That's like, sure, if you're at the highest level, man, the 99.99999% of the market, you know, the people buying and selling, like that's just people trying to make money. Like, I'm not saying what you described doesn't happen. I'm just saying I really don't think that's sort of indicative of the broader trend. How are we on this? NVIDIA is actually making a lot more money now than they were before. I'm not discounting that, but we already know for a fact that revenue and share price are not directly correlated or even loosely correlated. Loss leaders are a thing. So you're saying again, like, oh, so this is why NVIDIA's share price has gone up. But then it's like, okay, but that's not why any other share price goes up. That's not like the way the market operates generally. So in this case, it just seems like it's kind of, I don't know, a little bit of a game. Like, and also, where is this money coming from? Hold on. Out of curiosity. Like, what are they selling that is making them more money? Vosh Googling where does money come from? A surprisingly complicated question. The H100 AI accelerators for $40,000 each. Really? And out of curiosity, why are people buying the NVIDIA H100 Tensor Core GPU? Just out of curiosity. So it's like an AI chip for data centers or something. It's because investors are super hyped about AI. Is that so, Kevly26? Are you suggesting to me that not only is the share price for Nvidia pretty much entirely hype driven, but the massive surge in profits that they've been enjoying in the past 2 or 3 years are also the product of an artificial hype wave for AI tech that as of yet has not actually boosted the value of any of these companies beyond a valuation? As in, they haven't made anything. They haven't done anything. If you go on Twitter right now and just scroll, you will find a million advertisements thrown at you for people being like, our AI technology helps you do layoffs so that you can save on payroll. Who's benefiting? Who's making this money? Where is this economy happening? How many cars are being made? Where are the widgets? This is like an IQ bell curve where the low IQ economic position is the economy is only what I can hold in my hands. And then the medium IQ position is no, the economy is actually a complex weave of investments and hype bubbles on the stock market, in addition to the stuff you can hold in your hands. And the high IQ position is it's actually only what you can hold in your hands. Everything else is fake. If the economy, if you can't touch it, if you can't touch the thing, if it's not a car or a widget or something, if it's not producing turnips, if you can't lick the device and get a little zap on your tongue. Again, Vosh is mostly correct, but taking it too far. They said the same thing about Marx, folks. They were like, I agree. I think that the factory owners are exploiting our labor, but I don't like what he's saying about a classless, stateless society. Well, maybe I just want to take it a little bit farther than you do, you know? Maybe you want to hold on to the comforting delusion that the stock market is driven by anything other than the insane hype of tech Silicon Valley tech venture capitalists who make fuck tons of money in no time at all doing nothing, and then some of them go bankrupt because that's how it is. It's all luck, no skill, no one knows what they're doing, none of this contributes to the world in any way, a million technological advancements that won't in any way, shape, or form advance the quality of your life. It's just bubble money getting traded around by the worst people alive. When was the last time a technological innovation that you saw hyped up on social media actually made a difference in your life, huh? I remember what the smartphone did for people. That was real. The smartphone was a real thing that really changed things. There are changes. Have you seen AI do anything for your life? NFTs? Crypto? The Gunnar goggles? It's been a little while, I'll admit. There are technological advancements that I stand behind, but this, it's all hype bubble speculation bullshit, and it's operating on every single level, and I don't respect it. This is Zizek's point on capital. The point is that capital is the irrational basis of capitalism, and ironically, the way in which capitalism is able to revolutionize itself in the face of a crisis. Yeah. Vosh, I think the reason we're all chafing a bit is because you're trying to say that this is all driven by hype and vibes, which is true, but then implying possibly that there is no value in trying to understand how or why it happened. I think to an extent that a minimal amount of effort should be put into trying to understand how or why it happened, because you can be correct every time by saying stock market speculative bullshit, and I don't really gain anything from going beyond that. You know? I like it's because you could do the same with crypto. Why do crypto go up and down? And you can be like, whoa, because crypto bubble bullshit. And then it's like, well, no, there's like a more advanced underlying layer to it where you can understand like the specific trends of why crypto might have been worth more or less at any given point in time. Like there were people who did analyses of the crypto bubble popping about what, 2 years ago? I didn't talk about it. So why do I have to talk about this? That's true, Kakao. Vosh, I agree with that chatter. The problem is once you understand how the stock market works and it's bullshit. I mean, you can't understand how it works, but yeah. You also understand why a ton of government policy on spending is the way it is. Well, right, I understand that to an extent, but I think that's again, CNN isn't mentioning the Japan thing. Can I get like an official source on the connection between the Bank of Tokyo or the Bank of Japan or whatever and the stock market? Because so far I only have chatters who are making that claim. I don't have any investments. I'm true to the proletariat. Stock markets around the world are crashing right now, but why? The answer to many is the yen carry trade, a term you'll probably hear many times this week. So what exactly is the yen carry trade, and why did it cause a market downturn? The Bank of Japan decided to raise rates at their most recent meeting. They raised it to 0.25% in their second rate hike since 2007, effectively ending negative rate policy. For years, traders took advantage of these ultra-low rates. For years, investors would borrow yen at ultra-low rates, such as 0.4%, then use these yen as a form of leverage. Investors could convert the yen to US dollars, other currencies, and get almost free margins. Low rates made this possible. The widespread between rapidly rising rates in the US and other countries and negative rates in Japan made it possible. However, as the BOJ began raising rates, this resulted in an unwinding of the carry trade, especially as rate cuts are beginning in the US and EU. As a result, the Japanese yen strengthened and the USD Japan yen currency pair just hit its lowest level since December 2023. You now receive 142 yen for every dollar compared to 160 yen for every dollar a few weeks ago. But this is why this is the key point. As the yen strengthens, many of these yen carry trades are being margin called. Suddenly, the era of free yen loans is coming to an end. Solution is present. Yeah, I think we need to abolish capitalism is my thing. I think that'd be the solution to this. Holy shit, it's boring. Yeah, it's also not real. This is just more fake bullshit. It's fake in the sense that it's vibes, not fake in the sense that this is an accurate tweet summary. I don't have the education to dispute the actual assessments of the tweet. It is, however, fake and gay on a spiritual level. And for me, my immortal soul is a lot more important than any like part of my corporeal being. So should we care about the crash? Yeah, of course. It's like the economy, man. You think vibes can't hurt you? You best start believing in vibe stories. You're in one. It is fake, Benjamin. You just don't understand how fake it is. You're looking at puppets moving on the wall. Any ideas on how this will affect normal people? I've got great news. Anytime anything happens in the stock market, the best case scenario is that it doesn't affect your life, and the worst case is that you lose your job. When things consolidate later, a few people will get much, much, much wealthier, and the ever encroaching system of sort of monetary capital consolidation will continue with fewer and fewer people up on top. It does affect 401k. Well, yeah, it's the stock market. Vosh, by the way, this oh my god, stock market is crashing thing is itself hype, like you're doing the hype right now. I mean, yeah, in the same way that me saying Bitcoin crashed, crypto crash is also me contributing to the pattern that led to it crashing to begin with, because the reason it crashed was because of a loss of hype and the sort of cascading consequences of that. There's no way to comment on hype without contributing to it positively or negatively. Even acknowledging the fact that the stock market is complete bullshit that is detached from any meaningful, like real corporate worth, is itself a kind of, devaluing effect. The people who run the stock market, or I guess no one runs the stock market, the big players in the stock market want you to believe that when you're buying or selling shares, you're engaged in like a sensible, high IQ assessment of the value of this company and isn't going to go up and so on and so forth. They would love that because they want it to be a meritocracy. They want it to feel like a meritocracy. Do you think investing in the stock market is unethical? No. I'm just glad the goat of investing, Nancy Pelosi, managed to get ahead of the curve. What, did she do a bunch of selling right before the fact? I don't see any pointer on that. Yeah, but I mean, it's only down about 10% overall. A bunch of companies were back up today by the end. Like, this just happens every few months. It's not a big crash, just the normal ebb and flow. Eat. Are you by chance like invested in a broad range of companies and are personally threatened by me speaking negatively about the health of the stock market? First of all, I'll call anything I want a crash, okay? You can have a little crash. You can do a little fender bender. Second of all, a 10% drop, the fear index skyrocketing, it's big news, man. This doesn't just happen every few months. And even if it did, that's a point to the instability of the market, not to it being like, not a big deal. Well, anyway, I guess there's not much to say about this. I'm going to keep hampering on this point, by the way. Every time I learn anything about the stock market, which, by the way, this is not the first time the topic has come up, obviously. And every time it comes up, people in chat are like, no, you don't understand it, actually. And then they link me something to read, or I get a bunch of emails, and then I read the content of the emails, and I'm like, wait, this supports my point. This is all hype. This has happened to me like 8 times now. Where every single time we have this recurrent, like, people try to educate me. They try to educate me by being like, well, no, it's not all hype. There's reality here. Look at this real thing that affects the hype. And I'm like, that's like the 20th time someone sent me this, I wish people would engage with it on that level, as Marx would have. I am principally against speculative investment, by the way. I think it's harmful to society. I don't believe in it. It's gambling on a social level, except instead of ruining the finances of your family, you can ruin the entire global economy. Because anytime anyone trips and hits their dick on a stair railing, everyone else freaks out and the whole economy collapses because everyone panics over everyone else. That's it every time, by the way. Every time there's a big economic collapse, it's literally just panicking brings about panicking brings about panicking. It's like there are the kinds of economic problems where it's we don't have enough food to eat. like a real problem, you know, like there is an amount of food we need to eat and then an amount of food that we want to eat, and the two are not matching up. That's a real problem. And then you have the like stock market economic crash panics where it's like people lost faith and then everything fell apart. A cascading, like a chain reaction of different, you know, everything that happened in 2008 when the global economy crashed because some you know, American mortgage companies are like packaging subprime mortgage loans in with the good ones and trading on them and gambling on them. You realize the fact that the global economy took a hit purely because there was some question as to the validity of the AAA ratings of the mortgages that we were buying and selling. The idea of the global economy collapsing because of that is psychotic. Like, I feel like there are people who are like educating themselves on what led to the 2008 subprime mortgage crash, and they're like, now that I understand the system, I will not critically engage with how insane it is. Like, now that I know why it happened, I won't take a moment to reflect on how a lack of conviction and trust in the perceived likelihood of people packaged into mortgage groups that were being traded by corporations, likelihood of being able to pay back their mortgages, why would lead to a global economic collapse many countries have still not recovered from. Like, man, the trillions in fraudulent derivative bets were, how does that affect the global economy except for insane vibe fear cascades? Oh, some companies made bad bets? Okay, those companies are now out of money. Dunzo. Wow. Oh, they owe more money than they can actually pay? Okay, fine. Then you settle the bets out for like the maximum amount they can pay, same as you would deal with any debt from like a regular normal person. And then you manage the assets of the company. You either nationalize them or you restructure it under new ownership. But you pay what you can, and that's that. Because it was the banks making the bets, they default in every time. Benjamin, you're arguing with me in ways that are just the next step of the point. In a logical system, there's no reason at all why betting over subprime mortgage collections should ever lead to a global economic crash. That doesn't make sense. There's no material connection between these things. Let me explain to you an economic crisis that makes sense. A terrible winter has struck the heartland. We no longer have enough wheat to feed our people. The price of wheat goes up because more people want wheat that isn't there. So as demand increases and supply decreases, the price goes up. Many people can't afford the wheat, so they starve. That's an economic crisis that makes sense and is rooted in material reality. The shit that happened in 2008 was psycho, and you can't explain it away with like, oh, well, this happened because that happened. I know that's why that happened. I'm saying it shouldn't. This is very basic leftist economic analysis, by the way. It's okay to understand how things came to be, but you also have to keep your thumb on the tab of, they shouldn't be this way. Like, I spent a lot of time researching the history of scientific racism because I wanted to argue against it better. How stupid it is, how unscientific the so-called bases of Western science-backed racial differentiation is, the taxonomy based on nothing. But learning about the system doesn't mean I have to implicitly validate it. Like someone's like, dude, scientific racism is all vibes. It's bullshit. And I'm like, actually, it's not vibes because Emmanuel Constantine back in 1872 recognized the differing brow shape in the two groups of racially diverse patients that were brought in. What? What the fuck are you talking about? I know that doesn't. You can't even debate with finance bros because they've literally sat through entire semesters explaining bullshit like them, bullshit like this, them like it's real. Yeah, like you can learn a lot about horoscopes, man. That doesn't mean you have to validate it as a practice. And I feel like I've made my point. I could probably go to YouTube chat and see a bunch of people being real ornery with me. I look in YouTube chat from Benjamin Gilbert Lift. Someone in VGG tell Vosh he's mischaracterizing what I said. Benjamin, you forgot the #1 rule of being in my chat, which is if I see your name too many times, you get banned. You don't need to argue with every point that I make. You don't need to add to everything. It's okay. You have to contribute. Again, this is a classroom. If every time I make a statement, you raise your hand and shout in all caps something contrary or even supportive, like that's the classroom. You're in a classroom. I see you chatting. So is your issue with investment generally? I don't like speculative investment. If you invest, that's a lot of links, guys. If you invest in a company or whatever, if anyone invests in a company, like I believe in like profit dividends, maybe like a proportion of the profit agreed upon per the investment, or you repay the investment with interest. That's what I believe in. I don't believe in owning shares of a company because I think companies should be collectively owned by the workers of that company. Just a little thing I like to call socialism. Don't run to the presses with that one. I need to patent the term first. This is, again, like, people get mad every once in a while. I feel like people get mad at me when they remember that I'm not a liberal. I like, on a fundamental level, speculative investment encourages nothing but social decay. There's a million arguments in favor of this. Every crash that we've enjoyed has been a product of it, by the way. But also the fact that technology, all this AI shit we're seeing right now, is being artificially hyped up by investors. No one's asking for it, and it's not going to do anything for you. It's just another bubble. The economy over and over and over and over and over is just bubbles. Bubble, 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 bubble. When was the last time we had a big economic boom that was the product of a legitimate, like, widget, like a material, something that literally, you can't even imagine it, can you? You're so detached from what real economy looks like, you can't even fathom it. It used to be that a nation or a city would experience a boom when they got more of a physical thing, food, sulfur, whatever, because now they could do more with it. Oh, we have steel now. That's great. We can do stuff with it. But over in the West, we can't conceptualize of economic booms that way because we already have everything. We already have everything, basically. Not everyone in America has everything, but a lot of us have kind of materially the upper, we're kind of hitting the upper margin on like what technology we can own that improves our lives. This is why I say so much of forward movement isn't going to be about technology, but urban planning, social development, restructuring our cities, our countries, our world to make them more humane, more human, giving everyday people the opportunity to enjoy their lives. Lots of leisure time, lots of comfort, lots of cleanliness, social service, sociability, a lack of alienation, you know? These aren't technological advancements. Technology can enable positive changes, make us more efficient, can allow us to do things we couldn't do previously. But it's just not hype-driven. There is no hype in giving you a third place. There is no shareholder assessment. There is no big, like, venture capitalist who is going to go like, yeah, I'm really invested in the walkability of this neighborhood, which is why corporations don't push for stuff like that. Instead, they're pushing for shit like, I don't know, all of Chicago's parking meters getting bought out by a private company, or electric cars, or like toll roads, you know? Companies invest in what they can make money off of and what they can sell to their investors. And that often doesn't actually translate to any kind of material benefit. We've got plenty of loss leaders where they make killings in the stock market while actually not earning any revenue. Oftentimes, in fact, they collapse because of that. Apparently, the wise investors in the market didn't realize that the thing they were investing into wasn't making any money. Oh, wait, they don't care. They're just making dividends off the increase of the share price. They don't give a fuck if the company makes money. Who cares? All they care about is the value of the shares they've bought. Whatever. Yeah, I think we should have a Fed mandated interest rate of 100%. How does this work in market socialism? You don't get the stock market in socialism. Market socialism still just has a commodified economy. No stock market. I don't believe in the stock market. No stock market. Ooh. All right.